Hey, warriors. Okay, so you're hearing all kinds of people talk about the nervous system lately, which is probably a good thing. Okay, people are finally realizing that stress affects our body. Trauma affects perception, emotions, affect physiology. We know now that survival patterns shape our behavior. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Problem is that nobody ever says anything. I don't think that I've heard one word. Not that I hear everything, because I don't. I actually probably don't hear as much as I should, because I don't look as much as I should. But I still have never heard one person describe the difference between nervous system. That was weird. I've not heard one person speak about nervous system regulation, the difference between that and nervous system healing, because they are not the same thing. But you do hear people just spitting them out there like they are the exact same thing, and they are nothing close. One is like taking cough medicine for a sinus cold, right? That's what regulation is, you know? Um, Nervous system regulation is the ability to bring your system back into balance in the moment. You see what I'm saying? Okay, breathing exercises, meditation, cold exposure, movement, calming practice, that kind of thing, grounding techniques. You know what I'm saying? Those things can absolutely help regulate the system, and that's great. Do you know what I'm saying? It is great. Meaning, you can become calmer, more present, less reactive, more stable. Absolutely. That matters a lot. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but regulation alone does not necessarily mean the deeper pattern has healed. Like I said, it's like taking cough medicine when something else is causing the cough. You understand what I'm saying? And I think they're confusing those two constantly, because healing is deeper than temporary state management. Do you know what I mean? That's what that is. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with nervous system regulation, because I speak of it constantly. But that's what it is. It's management of your behaviors. Healing, though, involves changing the underlying pattern itself. Not just calming the reaction, but understanding why your reaction exists in the first damn place. What created it, what reinforces it, and how the body learned that survival in the first place. You know, that takes time, right? Awareness, consistency, safety, repetition, sometimes even therapy, for Christ's sakes. Sometimes lifestyle changes, sometimes grief, sometimes, honesty that people have been spending their lives avoiding. Because a person can become very skilled at regulating themselves, you understand, while they're still carrying unresolved fear, pain, trauma, I don't know, emotional wounds, identity patterns underneath all of this. So, you know what I'm saying? In other words, you can learn how to calm the nervous system, and that is great. Okay? But without fully healing what dysregulated it to begin with, you know, that's not good. And honestly, I think this is important because social media loves these shortcuts. You know, do this one thing, regulate instantly, heal your nervous system fast. Come on now. This is the kind of shit that really gets under my skin bad. But anyways, but real healing, it, it, it's rarely linear, you know? Recognizing your triggers sooner, recovering faster, reacting less, I guess, intensely, building new patterns, feeling safe enough to rest or no longer living like in that constant survival mode. That's what I'm saying. That's what healing looks a lot more like, those things, than let's, regulate your nervous system fast. Well, that's great, but in the long run, you're just managing. You're just in management position there. You know? Um one more thing that I guess people need to hear. Healing does not mean that you become, I guess, emotionless. A healthy nervous system is still going to feel shit. You are still going to stress out. You are still going to grieve. You are still going to get sad and anger and, all of those things, and feel uncertainty. You're not trying to never feel activated, I guess. You know, you just want to become more, I guess, aware, more resilient. Do you know what I mean? I guess incapable of returning to that balance without, being controlled by those unconscious survival patterns. And I just think that people people are just beginning, to realize how much of their, how do I put this? How much of their personality was actually nervous system adaptation. You know, that realization alone, that can change your life entirely. I mean, honestly. But yeah, there's a major difference between the two. They're not the same thing. So if you hear somebody trying to push it out like that, check them. Love you.